something that doesn't seem right. Look how rough the motor is running. All right, so the car's not supposed to sound like that. Houston, we have a problem. I'm gonna take the car for a drive to see if the engine will throw a code, because I gotta figure out what's happening, and the way it's driving, the way the engine's running right now is so bad that I'm sure that I'm gonna get a code. But I do have to drive around the block in order to try and get that code. Right there, the engine threw a code. Now we're gonna find out what that is real soon here. Just limping her back home. Limping her back home to the garage. Okay, back home in the garage, you can see we have a flashing check engine light. So the car has thrown the code. And what I have right now is my open flash tablet is connected to my diagnostic port. And this will allow me to see what the code is, and then I can look it up and try and figure out what's wrong with the car. Now, if you do not have an open flash tablet, there's another way you can do it. You get one of these cheap OBD2 connectors, you stick it up in your diagnostic port, and then you can get a program, sorry, an app, not a program. You get an app on your smartphone, which is free to download, and that is called, what is it called? It is called Torque Lite. This is Torque Lite. It's a simple app that will allow you to monitor your engine and also check for fault codes. See? Fault codes right there. Now, if you had this connected up to a Bluetooth OBD2 adapter, then of course you could do it. But I have an open flash tablet and I can do the same thing. So let's see if I can get these codes. Okay, ECU fault codes. Okay, so there we go. We got two codes. Can you see that? PO302 and P219A. Okay, there you go. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back in my warm garage. Got my heater going right above me there, if you can see. And I'm gonna check out what those two codes are and find out what's wrong with my car. But you notice that even though the car was running rough, obviously in the driveway, you have to drive it around. The code doesn't appear to be entered into the computer until the car is actually going a certain speed over a certain distance. I'm not sure which, but anyway, I had to drive the car around in order to get it to throw the code. And then we go search. PO302 code is a diagnostic trouble code for cylinder 2 misfire detected. Okay, cylinder 2 misfire detected. Okay, so there's a misfire, that's obvious, and it's in cylinder number 2. Now, which cylinder is that? Okay, so there's a numbering system for the cylinders. Of course, this is a FRS. It's got a 4-cylinder engine. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But which one's number 1? Well, I'll tell you a secret. Number 1 is always, or as far as I know, almost always, the cylinder that is closest to the front of the car, right? And you'll notice, if you look closely, that these engines are not symmetrical. One side of the engine is a little bit closer to the radiator here than the other side. You can see, let's see, you can see right here. I don't know if you can see, but anyway, there's the cam cover for this side, and the cam cover for this side projects out further than the cam cover for that side. Now, on this Crown Vic, I can show you the same principle. This is a V8 engine, but still, when the cylinders are stacked, unless you have a straight 8, you're going to have one cylinder a little ahead of the others. Now let's see what it is in this one. Okay, so there is the cam cover for this cylinder head, and the other cylinder head, as you can see, is projecting a little further forward than the other one. So that always means that this first cylinder here that's closest to the front of the car is cylinder number 1. So in my FRS example, like I said, you can see the cam cover here is a little bit further forward than this one. So this is cylinder number 1. Now the way they usually do it is it goes like across. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And with the V8 engine, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. Okay, so according to that first code, number 2 cylinder, which is right here, is the one that's misfiring. But why is it misfiring? Maybe we should check out the second code. And I've got P219A, which means bank 1, a 15% imbalance in the air-fuel ratio. Okay, let's take a look at the car now. Code P219A says bank 1, 15% imbalance. Now I know from my reading that bank 1 is always where cylinder number 1 is. So that would be this bank here. By checking this out, because that was confusing, because it's saying that there's because it's saying that there's a 15% imbalance in bank 1. I thought this is bank 1, and yet the misfire is over here. But for Subarus, bank 1 is the whole engine, because there is, see, all the exhaust comes to one oxygen sensor here, and then after the cat, another one. So because of that, any misfire you have in the whole engine will be recorded as in bank 1. So because this is a 4-cylinder engines, and inline 4-cylinder engines will of course have just one bank, so does Subaru, even though it looks like it would have 2. So that clears that up. Is that clear? Did I make that clear? I don't know. Anyway, what that makes it clear is that there's a problem in cylinder number 2. Now how do I find out what it is? It's either, I believe there's 2 ways. It's either the fuel problem, so it could be an injector that's gone bad, or it could be the coil that's gone bad. Each of these cylinders has a separate coil. They're very hard to reach. So yeah, what do I do now? Okay, it may not look like it, but I think the easiest thing to do is actually take out the coil, ignition coil, and I'm going to take out the one from cylinder number 2 and put it on a different cylinder. And then if the code moves to a different cylinder, I know that it is the ignition coil, and that all I have to do is replace one ignition coil, and then the car will run good. Okay, so I did make a video, I guess about a year ago, about how to change your spark plugs, which is very difficult to do in a Subaru because it's way down there. And part of that process is also removing the ignition coil pack for each cylinder. So that's what I'm going to do in this case. I'm going to remove it, and although it looks really difficult, it's not as bad as it seems. Okay, I got my Mopar fender protector on my Toyota, and all I'm going to need is a 10 mil on a little 1/4-inch wrench. And here's another trick for you. I stuffed a white towel down there, because if you drop a bolt or anything down there, it's going to go down to your belly pan, and it's going to roll far away from where you can never reach it, and then you're going to be in trouble, and you're going to be cursing, and that's not good. So as we can see here, and it helps to have the white towel, you can now see that's coil pack for cylinder number 4 right there, and that's coil pack for cylinder number 2. Now that's the one that is misfiring. I'm going to take this coil pack out from cylinder number 2 and exchange it and put it in cylinder number 4, and vice versa. Okay, so the first step is to take out the 2 10 mil bolts that are holding in each coil pack at the front of the coil pack. I don't know if I can do this with one hand here. You can see I'm on. You can reach down. There is room. Oh, one more thing I forgot. I did take off the metal cover that goes over your injector rail right here. That just makes it easier to work on this whole thing. So yeah, you should take that off. Otherwise, it's a little more difficult. So I took that off. Okay, I got them loose. Took a bit of work. Now I'm taking them off with my fingers right now as we speak. And I'm being very careful because I don't want to drop the bolts that are holding on these injectors. And I hope I don't drop them. Almost got one off. One bolt off. Second bolt off. Now we can the injectors will just come straight
out. There we go. And there's the injector. Okay, it's out. And it's out. Okay, as you can see, I marked my ignition coils so I could keep track of everything. This is cylinder number 2. This is where the misfire is happening. So this supposedly could be a bad one, but we don't know yet. So I'm gonna, and also I marked my cylinder number 4. Now I'm gonna switch places and put 4 back where 2 was and vice versa. And then we'll see if the OBD2 code changes. Okay, I've got the coil packs in. I've got 2 where 4 was, and I got 4 where 2 was. So now I've got to take out the car for another test drive and see if it throws a code and what that code is. Okay, I'm back in my warm garage because it is kind of a cold day. Not cold compared to other parts of Canada, but still cold for me here in Vancouver. So what happened? I got a code, and guess what it was? It's code PO302. Let's see what that means. Right, checking my handy dandy handheld computer. Code PO304 indicates that cylinder number 4 is experiencing misfire. There you go. Okay, so there is the proof. It shows that the ignition coil is bad. Okay, so all that means is I have to change out 1 ignition coil and I should be fine. But I was thinking about it. This car has almost 200,000 kilometers, which is quite a bit of mileage. And I think that if I'm going to change 1 ignition coil, I might as well change all 4. Okay, so to get this car running right, I'm going to change all 4 ignition coils. And this is what I got to do that. All 4 ignition coils. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they look pretty well exactly like the originals. Okay, so ignition coils can be fairly expensive. Obviously, if you go and get OEM coils directly from your Subaru or Toyota dealer, you're going to pay some money. I didn't pay very much at all, and I'll put a link below where I got these ignition coils. So these are not going to break the bank, that's for sure. Okay, these ignition coils come with a little packet of dielectric grease. Anyway, it's a grease that you can put on, and you'll put this on the boot around this area, so that you put this on the boot where the spark plug goes in, so that it won't stick, and in the future you'll be able to take these off real easy. These new ones go in the same way that the old ones came out. Okay, as you can see, the first one is in. I just have to get the bolt started and then get the connector on. If you have a higher mileage FRS or BRZ, you might want to change the spark plugs at this time. I have a video that I made earlier because this is my car is a fairly high mileage FRS, and I've already changed the spark plugs. So if you're changing the ignition coils, you might as well change the spark plugs. And I'll put a link to my video which shows how you can do it yourself without raising or lowering or removing the engine, and save yourself, well, maybe save yourself $1,000, because trust me, it's expensive at the dealership to get this spark plug replacement done. Also, I forgot to mention that I took off the firewall brace on this side, the driver's side, just to make it easier to get my hand in here. But on this side, I'm not going to do that because I think I can do it even with this brace on. The main problem on this side, this is the passenger side, is that you have this computer that's mounted to the side of the rail cover. And that's going to be a little difficult. So you got very little space in here, so it looks impossible, but trust me, it's not. 10 mil bolt, 10 mil bolt, 10 mil bolt down there. You get that off and you'll be able to maneuver this out of the way. Take off these 10 mil bolts. That's 1, 2. Now it's loose. we fold him back, fold him back, and down, right down there. Just like that. Just rotate and down. Now, you can see there's a lot more room now. We can see that there's one ignition coil, and there's the other one. Same as the other side. Two 10 mil bolts, one 10 mil bolt per ignition coil, and you just got to fit it on and start moving it slowly like that. And then the other one here, we'll do that, and then take the connectors off and put the new coils back in. Also, don't forget to put your white cloth down here like I did on the other side. I almost did forget, because if you drop these little bolts as you're trying to take them out, you're not gonna be able to get them back easy, trust me. So put the white cloth there, and just gotta fit your hand in here and just keep working it. Yes, there we go. Now I'll do the front one. Okay, I got one of the old injectors out. Okay, the old ignition coils are out, and it's time to lube up the new ones. Okay, new injector going in. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Okay, yeah. Okay, the job is done. All right, so everything is buttoned back together. All the coil packs are in. And let's start the car and see how it runs. Oh yeah, that's way better. Nothing's missing now. It's smooth. Okay, so the takeaway from this video is that you can change the ignition coils yourself. Do not pay hundreds of dollars to the dealership for this job. You can do it yourself. And the other takeaway is that if you get a code showing a misfire, that you can change out the ignition coils from one cylinder to another cylinder to confirm whether it is the ignition coils or perhaps a fuel injector. And the third takeaway is that you can get ignition coils fairly cheap, as you can see the link below, and you don't have to pay the gigantic prices you would get at a dealership. Now, are they as good as the OEM ignition coils? I'm not sure. So far, so good, but it's worth a try. So thanks for watching Photomikes Garage. I will see you later.